This is CBC Windsor News. I'm Jennifer LaGrassa. Thanks for joining us. For months, there's been a vacant seat on City Council. On Monday, residents in the city's West End will decide who will fill it. There's a long list of candidates for the by-election in Ward 2, but the area has been seeing declining voter turnout. CBC's Chris Sensing reports.
The Ward 2 by-election happens Monday. Who will be Windsor's next city councillor? That's the big question. But there's another one. Are people actually going to vote?
Yeah, I think the voter turnout's going to be incredibly low.
History backs that. Less than a third of people who can vote in Windsor actually cast a ballot last election. That's citywide. When you look at Ward 2 specifically, the numbers shrink even further. It's been dropping for years. A former campaign manager who has worked for candidates trying to get elected at all levels of government in the West End says the university might be part of the problem. There's about 15,000 people who can vote on Monday, and a big chunk of them are students. And the younger you are, the less likely you are to vote, according to statistics. The Canada Post strike might also play a factor. City staff did not send out voter information cards. You don't need them to vote, but they help let people know an election is happening. Windsor did make changes to get more people voting.
What we did different for this by-election is we're offering voters vote anywhere in your wards. Again, you can go out to any one of those 7 locations. It's not a specific, you can only vote here type thing. So if one works for you on the way home from work or one is down the street, we encourage you to get out there and cast your ballot if you are an eligible elector.
Eligible voters can walk up to 7 different sites and cast a ballot. The long list of 15 candidates might also help get people out, more signs, more awareness. About 500 people voted across 2 days of advanced polling, down slightly compared to the last general election.
I'm hopeful that people are interested enough, at this particular point in time to actually get out, cast a ballot, because this is a seat representing Ward 2, an important part of our city. And these decisions that we're making, it is a $1.2 billion corporation. This is an important board seat running the corporation of the City of Windsor.
Polls open at 10 o'clock on Monday. They close at 8. Chris Sensing, CBC News, Windsor.
LaSalle police have charged a 73-year-old woman with careless driving causing bodily harm after a vehicle crashed through a Zares on Malden Road earlier this week. The crash happened just after 2:30 Monday afternoon, according to police. The vehicle had broken through the store's front windows and hit a 42-year-old Windsor man who was inside the store at the time. He was brought to hospital with serious but non-life-threatening injuries. A gay rights activist in Windsor who made a lasting impact on Canadian human rights law is being made into a sculpture so that he can be remembered for decades to come. CBC's Dawson Chen has the story.
There was a time in the 1970s when Windsor-raised gay rights pioneer John Damien was widely known. 50 years later, that's no longer the case. Now Windsor sculptor Donna Main is hoping to correct that with her latest art project. She's making a clay bust of John Damien, a gay man whose legal battle led to changes in Canadian human rights laws.
He definitely left a mark as a civil rights advocate. And I love the fact that he fought for something so valiantly against all odds and was successful.
A former jockey, John Damien was an expert on horse racing, but in 1975 he was dismissed from his position with the Ontario Racing Commission because he was gay. According to Damien, he was told there were concerns his job decisions would be affected by sexual attraction to jockeys and that his homosexuality left him vulnerable to blackmail. Instead of accepting the dismissal, Damien took his employer to the Human Rights Commission. At the time, Ontario's Human Rights Code had no mention of sexual orientation, and the Canadian Human Rights Act did not exist. So Damien took the Ontario government to civil court. After 11 years of fighting, in 1986, the province offered him a settlement. Damien died of cancer soon afterward. But the victory led to a legislative landmark. In 1986, Ontario's Human Rights Code was amended to include sexual orientation for the first time. Walter Cassidy, chair of the Windsor-Essex Rainbow Alliance, has been researching John Damien's life. He's glad that more is being done to remember a past champion.
He galvanized the whole country. It's a huge story that we've forgotten, and it's someone from our community who is buried in our community. Queer history matters.
Donna Main expects her clay bust of John Damien will be finished by the end of the year. She wasn't commissioned for the work, and she's not sure if she'll have it cast in bronze. For now, she's content for it to be a conversation starter.
Strong jaw, soft eyes. And I would say that that's the personality I read. Like, he was a kind man, another Windsorite that made a difference in Canada.
Dawson Chen, CBC News, Windsor.
Colette Kennedy is here. Colette, what's the rest of the day looking like for us?
Well, we are trying to get out of this same pattern that we keep repeating over and over. It is like Groundhog Day, isn't it? So, yeah, let me show you where we're going. We started off at 7 degrees this morning. We've got some cooler nights ahead of us. It was certainly mild today. We made it to 12 degrees, and then just more recently, that temperature dipping again back to single digits with some of the rain showers. You could see almost like popcorn showers that are rotating around this area of low pressure. So still a few showers tonight, a cooler one, but then tomorrow we do get into some improvement. So I'll have the 5-day forecast coming up in the weekend.
Okay, thanks, Colette. A teen on a scooter chased and assaulted a 67-year-old man walking in East Windsor. According to police, it happened around 2 p.m. on Tuesday on Oliver Road. That's not far from the intersection of Paulette Road and Tecumseh Road East. Surveillance video from the area shows the youth kicking the victim from behind, causing him to fall and hit his head on the ground. The victim is recovering from his injuries, and Windsor police have charged a 16-year-old with assault causing bodily harm. Police have arrested and charged a man after 43 vehicles were vandalized overnight in a series of incidents in South Windsor. Last weekend, police say 21 vehicles were damaged. The damage is estimated at around $21,000. Surveillance video shows a person using a tool to scratch vehicles and slash tires. Now, flash forward to this week, Wednesday, someone saw a person go up to a vehicle and slash its tires. That night, 22 more vehicles were damaged. Those damages are estimated at $13,000. Police say they arrested a 63-year-old suspect who now faces several charges, including mischief to property and theft under $5,000. For baseball fans, you could call the day before the World Series Anticipation Day. And for Toronto Blue Jays fans, that feeling of excitement is off the charts. CBC's Jamie Strachan has the story.
On the eve of the 2025 World Series, the eyes of the baseball world squarely on Toronto. The Los Angeles Dodgers and the Toronto Blue Jays, Game 1 here tomorrow night in Toronto. The narrative going into this series, interesting. The Blue Jays have home field. They won more games than the Los Angeles Dodgers did during the regular season. But a David versus Goliath narrative has emerged. The Dodgers and their powerful lineup, full of future Hall of Famers, against the Blue Jay team that's really been defined beyond stars like Guerrero and Bichette as a collection of guys that other people didn't believe in.
I think the one thing we cannot do is look over there and say that is Goliath. That is a beatable baseball team that has its flaws.
Going into this series, a number of question marks remain for the Toronto Blue Jays. First and foremost, will All-Star Bo Bichette be in the lineup for the World Series? Manager John Schneider was still cagey on that, saying that Bichette has been running, he's been hitting, he's been throwing, but we won't know until tomorrow whether he is on the official World Series roster. One surprise, though, however, many thought the pattern of Kevin Gausman, who had started Game 1 of the ALDS, started Game 1 of the ALCS, would be the Game 1 starter in the World Series. Not the case. The Blue Jays going with rookie phenom Trey Yesavage, the 22-year-old who only has 6 career starts, 3 in the regular season and 3 in the postseason, will get the ball for the biggest game of his life.
He gets Raleigh.
Got back to my hotel room. First call was to my girlfriend. Had to get a flight in line for her to come up here and see it. Second call was to my parents.
So there you have it, a story of 2 very different teams. The Blue Jays making it back to the World Series for the first time since 1993. The Dodgers, no stranger to baseball's biggest event. They look to repeat as World Series champions and have been to the Fall Classic numerous times over the last few years. Game 1 tomorrow night in Toronto. Jamie Strachan, CBC News, Toronto.
And there's no shortage of excited Jays fans right now, even here in Windsor, where some have shared allegiance with the Detroit Tigers. We caught up with a local superfan who attended Game 7 against the Mariners and is busy prepping for the start of the World Series on Friday.
Hi, my name is Gerard Fod, and I'm here to talk to you about the Toronto Blue Jays.
How long you been a Blue Jay fan for?
Quite a while, decades. I don't know, I just grew up, loving the Blue Jays. Like I said, I was in high school when they won their World Series. Yeah, 92, 93 was awesome, and I never thought I'd see it again, so here we are. Actually, when my buddy called me, he's like, if they win tomorrow night, we're gonna go to Game 7. I'm like, we're on. I didn't know I was going to the game until about midnight the night before.
So everything kind of fell into place, and you end up at Game 7. What was it like to be there?
Honestly, crazy experience. I've been to many sporting events my whole life, and nothing compares to that. That Springer hit was like, wow.
And a swing and a fly ball to left field. Back goes Arozarena. She's gone!
So they were down. They were trailing most of the game. Yeah. What was the atmosphere like in the stands?
It never quieted down. It was always like a feeling of excitement, like something was about to happen. And I remember looking at my buddy just before, and I said, if this guy hits it, this place is going to explode. And sure enough, I literally felt the place shaking. It was awesome. I turned on the camera right at the last pitch there. I was anticipating a strikeout, and sure enough, we got one.
So next up is the LA Dodgers. They start the World Series in Toronto. Do you have plans on going?
Possibly, yeah. We're not sure yet, but there's a good chance we might end up there, for one game at least.
You care to make a prediction on who's going to win the World Series?
Blue Jays in 7.
What a great moment there. An exhibit on the history of CBC in Windsor will open at the Chimchuk Museum on Saturday. Video producer Mike Evans spoke with a retired CBC producer who helped put it all together.
Hi, I'm Phil Peck, and I've helped put together this museum exhibit at the Chimchuk Museum. It's about the CBC in Windsor and the evolution of public broadcasting. This is the oldest one. This is the picture of the studio in the security building on Polisher Street. It was the only one studio they had when the station opened in 1950.
It's the 75th anniversary for CBC Radio in Windsor, started in 1950. It's 55 years for the French radio station, CBEF, and it's 50 years ago that the CBC took over Channel 9. We went to the archives at the University of Windsor, and there's all kinds of pictures and other artifacts that are all kept there. Sort through boxes, look through albums, pictures that I'd never seen before, which is kind of cool. I guess as a journalist, sometimes history is important, and we didn't want to leave anything out. I realized that there aren't many people left who were here in 1950, but we thought, it's worth recognizing. There have been a lot of changes over the years. When CBC Radio started here, they mostly played music. They didn't do news and current affairs like they do now. It was a totally different thing. And so it's worth mentioning that evolution, that progress. The technology kept changing, and as the technology changed, the employees had to adapt and make use of it, and of course, some of it made life easier. I put the word out to all the people we know and said, what do you have? And you'd be surprised what you find in people's basements, in their garages, in their closets, all the stuff that came forward. It's surprising, all the stuff that showed up. A reel-to-reel tape recorder from the 1950s and 60s. And what's unique about it is that it doesn't run on batteries. It has a little handle on the side, and to work it, you crank it up, and then you turn it on and it records.
1990, open house, people came in to tour the station. This was a cartoonist, artist, a commentator, Bob Monks. Well-known guy, previously had run his own show, but during these days he used to do short commentaries for the local news.
So cool to see all of that put together. A look at the downtown where the Windsor International Film Festival has kicked off. 231 movies will be shown. That's over the next 10 days at theaters across the city. I know I'll be checking out a few of them. We will be right back with more news, so stay with us. Welcome back. The federal and Ontario governments have announced plans to spend a total of $3 billion on building Canada's first 4 small modular nuclear reactors east of Toronto. The Darlington New Nuclear Project is among a list of priority projects by Ottawa deemed to be in the national interest.
Canada's new government is putting forward $2 billion to build new clean energy technology, the first of its kind in Canada.
Carney says Canada will be the first G7 country to have this new kind of nuclear reactor. He says building and operating the 4 units will create thousands of jobs. The reactors will produce enough electricity to power 1.2 million homes once they're in operation, and it's expected that those will come online in 2030. A Conservative MP has been visiting a series of Canadian post-secondary schools to talk and to listen to a group of people he describes as young men in crisis. It's a campus tour that seems to have been inspired by similar gatherings south of the border. Kate McKenna has the details.
On Canadian campuses, the Conservatives are trying to build a movement of young men feeling left behind.
I think young men are kind of being abandoned in the education system. I think that we're being told that we shouldn't be welcome in certain spaces.
Men are just told not to, be proud. They're always told that, it's not good to be a man and blah, 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 things like that. Like things like man up and whatever. And it's hot, here and there, but sometimes it's good to be strong and just be a man.
Conservative MP Jamil Javani launched a campus tour starting in southern Ontario called Restore the North, where people are able to debate whatever they want, no matter how taboo. We were allowed to attend, but not film inside the event.
There's this idea that campuses are these dens of wokeness, but the reality is that university students can be really, really thoughtful.
I'm not running for anything. I want Trump to be president. Trump.
It was a format similar to another Conservative credited with building a youth movement, slain U.S. activist Charlie Kirk.
You, being a younger American, and everyone in the audience, is the first generation in American history to have it be worse off than your parents.
Though Kirk's comments on race and religion attracted heavy criticism, he's credited with growing the MAGA base, in part due to his push for free speech on campuses.
That kind of open, frankly, small L liberal free speech environment I think has been missing from campus for a number of years. And bringing that back, I think, creates a space for young people to engage in those debates.
Jamil Javani is expected to announce more tour dates in the weeks ahead. It comes at a time when the face of the Conservative base is shifting. In countries including Germany, the United States, and Canada, young men are increasingly looking to right-wing parties. Events like this could shore up even more support. Kate McKenna, CBC News, Ottawa.
An NBA coach and player are among dozens arrested in a massive mafia-linked gambling investigation. Portland Trailblazers head coach Chauncey Billups and Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier are among those charged in connection with illegal sports betting and illegal gambling.
This is an illegal gambling operation and sports rigging operation that spanned the course of years.
More than 30 others have been charged in connection with 2 major operations that involved the basketball league and the mafia. The FBA says one scheme centered on sports betting using insider information to place bets on various NBA games. Another revolved around rigged underground poker games where high-tech cheating methods, including X-ray tables that could see playing cards, were used to steal millions off victims. The NBA says it is putting Billups and Rozier on immediate leave. The brazen robbery on Sunday from the Louvre in Paris made for shocking headlines around the globe. But when a German manufacturer found out one of their cranes was used by the criminals, they decided to make hay from the heist.
Luckily for us, most of the people got the humor and know that we are not involved in the robbery, and we were very pleased with the reaction so far.
The company posted a social media advertisement using the image of their lift outside the museum. The ad in German says, "When you need it to go fast." Once they knew no one was injured, the company says it decided to have some fun with the unexpected attention. Their lifts are usually made to hoist heavy furniture. On October 19, jewels worth more than $100 million were stolen in broad daylight. We will be these are some hawks that have been banded in recent days by a local bird migration group in Amherstburg. I thought they were so neat. Look at that orange eye there, so cool. Hawktoberfest is also happening this Sunday at the Holiday Beach Conservation Area. Colette Kennedy is back with us. Colette, do we have some good hawk watching weather this weekend?
Yes. Yes, we do. Although some might claim any weather is good hawk watching weather. But
True.
Yeah, to try and not get, wet out there for our birders. Well, we've got some decent conditions finally coming our way where we can count on some drier weather. So this is where you see the darker green here. If you just look at the temperature in terms of the color contours. Yeah, so this is where this upper low, large area of low pressure has been situated and just churning and picking up moisture from the Great Lakes that enhances everything with this lake effect shower activity. And we've just been going through this day after day after day. We finally get to move away from it. So our current temperature, it did dip after a high of 12 degrees. I was mentioning earlier in the show, 9 degrees. And the sustained winds, yeah, they are not so strong. But still, we've had these gusts over 35 kilometers per hour. So still been kind of blustery. And that's the other thing that low does is it spins there in place. So you'd see almost like popcorn showers here, the way they're spread out across my radar. So in between, you get dry air and you don't have to worry about it, just some of the cloud cover, but then you'll get hit by one of these. So hard to predict it. It's really better just to be, aware of it and be ready for it. So there, another view of that large area of low pressure. As it breaks down and pushes eastward, though, what we find as we go into tomorrow, even through the overnight tonight, there'll be some breaks, drying conditions. Tomorrow, I do think we'll have some sun to start, but then we'll still get those clouds building back in because of its influence, but only a slim shower chance. And then as we move towards the weekend, we break out of that for Saturday and we get sunshine we can count on, maybe some high thin cloud later in the day. And then on Sunday, we will get into some increasing cloudiness, and that'll be not just at the high levels, okay? A little cooler tonight, so be aware of that tomorrow morning as you're heading out, 3 degrees, and then 11 tomorrow with that increasing cloud in the afternoon. And have a look at the weekend forecast. Temperatures near seasonal for us. Some cooler nights in there, but we get into drier conditions.
Nice. It looks beautiful. Thanks, Colette. And thanks, everyone, for watching. Have a good night.